Audible? Perfect. So I've made some notes. Very insightful sessions that I attended, and it actually gave me a lot of, it actually gave me a validation of what I was going to talk today here, rather. So, one very pertinent question, before I asked that, a decade back, 10 years back, I had seen a fireside chat of Jeff Bezos where he was asked, what do you think will change in the business in the next 10 years? So he responded to that question. He says, I don't know what will change, but I can tell you what will not change. One, the customers are always going to ask for something which is more cost effective. They want something which is more affordable. Sasta chahiye, right? Number one, that will never change. Number two, that will never change is jaldi chahiye. I want everything fast, right? So these two things will never change in the business. The third thing that I would like to add that will never change in the business is that your best customers are going to run your business always, and that's a case that we've seen with every industry, every company. It's not your customers who's running your business, it is your best customers who's running your business. And I have certain data points that I can prove. We have a demo out there where we worked with a lot of multi-industry clients where we can actually prove that why your customer experience head should think very, very differently in the coming years. I mean, I heard a lot of people, having problems with really delighting the customers, right? And I'm of the opinion that you don't need to. You don't need to delight every customer. You need to delight only those customers who have done business with you, who are loyal to you, who are your brand advocates, who are going to get you more business, because that's for them you are in the business. So you don't need to do that. So I'm here to give you an assurance that if you are in the customer experience field, or if you are a head of customer experience, you can reduce 80% of your non-effective, ineffective job by focusing on something which is 20% of your top customer base. And that's my idea here. That's what I'm going to kind of fight here in this on this podium here, that I'm going to make a case, a business case, wherein I'm going to tell you that stop delighting and focusing all your customers. Please don't do that. Rather, try to find your best customer and give a great experience to your best customers. The rest will follow. You have something to show here? I can't see that. Nahi aa raha. Okay. A very controversial statement to make, which is customer is not king anymore. It never was, actually. It's a wrong way of putting things, that customer is king. It's never been. I've been in the business for many years to realize that not all customers are equal. Right? If you try to delight every customer, you burn out cash. You are out of the business very, very soon. Right? So the point that I'm going to make here is that the question that why you should focus only on your top customers is the very clear why. 80% of your revenues come from the top 20% of your customers. And I can give you facts, data, hypothesis. It's not hypothesis, but I can give you actually proven data and statistics to tell you that you look at any business. So we work with a lot of retail customers, like we work with Adidas, we work with Reebok, we work with Hamleys. We have seen their data, the customer data and the transactional data. And to give you a fact here is that the top 20% of the customer base of Adidas e-commerce contributes to 86% of the business. 86% of their business. Now, one question here. Adidas, I'm sure that you're all aware of this brand, Adidas, right? Now, one question. What do you think that Adidas has its best revenues coming from on the e-commerce space? Which city, which town do you think that Adidas earns the most revenues / profits? The best customers are there. Which would be that town or city? Can anybody guess?
Delhi.
Delhi, yeah, assumption is Delhi. Assumption is Mumbai, sorry. would be a Bangalore. Some would think Adidas would be, yeah? Ahmedabad. Anybody else? Chandigarh. Anybody else? I'll tell you the best customer base that Adidas has in their e-commerce space is a town called Guwahati. And that's what the data told us, right? It's so much assumed that your best customers are sitting in the urban towns. You know, anybody you look at a Nike or a Adidas or any sportswear brand, you would think that the best customers are in Mumbai or in Delhi. But the data tells us very, very different story. Now the question is, what do you do with this kind of data? I mean, what do you know when you know that okay, your best customers are in Guwahati and they are not in Bangalore or Pune or in Mumbai? You kind of start investing in that town, right? And that should be your strategy. So I'm going to come back to that case study of Adidas later point. This is the 200% of it. You know, this is a very controversial statement. Whenever I have put this in front of my customers, they have actually challenged that this is kind of rubbish. You know, where did you get this profitability? 200% profitability coming from top 20% of the customers. So there is this. I have taken it from the Harvard professor Robert Kaplan, and the study was conducted by Robert Kaplan and V.G. Narayanan, and they have actually said that the Pareto rule in terms of profitability does not apply here. Rather, your 20% customers are actually contributing to more than 200% of profitability. That means your rest 80%, or rather the last 40% of the customer base, right, which is actually extracting profits from a business. So if you are the customer experience head, or you are the CRM head, you are the customer relationship management head of your business, what would you do if you know that you are actually giving an equal weightage and an equal treatment, a very similar treatment to all your customers, whereas you know that the bandwidth should be given to your top 20% of the customers. To prove that point, yeah, I can stop here. If you have any questions here, please. Yeah.
What you stated is very clear. I was actually reserving my question there.
Sure.
That normally your large customers, you should be more loyal, give them the best of price and all.
Right.
Invariably, it's the other way. You end up earning more actually from them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there is always a little pressure which is there from the business that you need to grow business. So top line is becoming
True.
very key to
True.
most of the business, right?
True.
So that is where this factor of 80% earning here is possibly then becoming an extract for the balance 80% customer.
Right.
How does one then convince the management about that fact?
See, profitability. You look at have you ever done a profitability analysis on your customer base? I am sure that none of us have actually done that.
80-20 is valid.
Yeah, correct. So how do you convince your management? You look at the next 20%, the rest of the base, which could be converted to the top, right? That's your next best customer to be converted. So even if you want to invest in terms of customer experience that you want to give, I would say that invest in the top 40%, 20%, but have a differential treatment. I mean, you should have an NV created within the customer base to kind of, it has to be an aspirational value for them. For example, when you actually in an airport, right, you see that people who have a priority pass, right? I mean they could actually get into a VIP first class, right? Because they are paid more. They are the top customers. They are paid more for this, so they get that treatment, right? And as an economy, user or a passenger, I always aspire to become that. Right? So there is an envy that you create with a differential treatment that you give at the airport, right? Similarly, can we do that for our business here? Can we give a differential treatment to a top customer, to the next best customer, to the tail end of the customer base? So that's the point that we're making. Yeah. Now, what stops you from making that revenue that you talk about? Sir, you're talking about, how do you actually convince the management that what actually stops you from making that revenue? Number one, most of us, right, do not know who is the best customer today. Let's say if I'm a retail brand, and if you ask the CRM head of a retail brand, they wouldn't be aware of the top 20% of the customers today. They might have a data which is like a 6-month-old, but then the dynamics are changing so rapidly that every month your customer your demographics of the customer is changing. So as I said, today it's Guwahati, tomorrow it might be Indore. right? Your best customers must be coming from Indore. Day after tomorrow, it'll be a tier 3, tier 4 city. You never know. It'll be coming from a rural, sector of India. So the point is the siloed customer data. What is stopping you from doing, the kind of investments into your top customer is because number one, you don't know who your top customers is in the first place, right? Even if you know, your business model is not connected in the sense that it's not aligned to kind of deliver them a differentiated service. Number one point, and we have seen that with most of the customers that we work with, right? The siloed customer data, the siloed platforms, they have a CRM platform, they have a service platform, a different service platform, they have a different, inside sales platform wherein a customer complaint is kind of captured in a different platform, but then it doesn't talk to each other. So the custodian of a customer relationship management, a CRM, does not have a clue of what actually is the profile of the customer is, right? So that's because of siloed platforms. The lack of expertise, definitely, because there's a lot of technology that is involved in this space. There's a lot of gap that keeps coming in. So technology gets updated every 6 months, but the people are not getting updated with technology. Like it's always said that the technology moves at an exponential pace, and the adoption moves at a logarithmic space, right? So it happens with all of us here, right? I mean, we know there is a generative AI that people are talking about. It's kind of taken from last 6 months. It's kind of exponentially progressed, but we haven't adopted it. I mean, I'm sure that none of us have adopted it at that pace that it is actually taking up. Similarly, that's simply because we are not able to adopt to that to that kind of pace, and we lack certain expertise to kind of put this data stitched together and do things like that. Now, time taken to put all this thing together. Now, we all know that we have our BAU activities, right? We are very convinced. You will walk away from this room saying that, okay, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to look at my profitability analysis of my top 20 customers, top 20% of the customers. I'm going to talk to the CEO saying that now let's put some investments into it. But the problem is that you will get stuck in your BAU. Right? You will go back, you have listened to something, your heart is in it, but then you do not have an ecosystem to kind of support it, right? Or you haven't designed something to support it. So that's what happened, and it takes a lot of time to kind of change something that you've been doing, and that's the reason that most of the companies are keep doing what they're doing, and it becomes very, very difficult to change at the pace of what needs to be changed. IT overhead to connect with marketing. This is one of the major reasons that we have seen from our experience. Major reasons that the obstacle for marketing to kind of deploy certain use cases to go with what marketing insights you get, simply because there's too much of dependency on the IT team. And that doesn't work in most of the cases because IT has its own priorities, IT has its own agenda, and marketing is kind of in the queue. So because of these reasons, whatever that we have learned, and we know that in marketing and customer experience it works, it doesn't get translated into something which kind of moves the business ahead. Any questions so far? So now I will come to a crowded slide here. I was kind of trying to simplify it, but I think this requires some amount of justice. It needs it as is. So how do you find your best customers? So today, I'm not sure how you guys are doing your segmentation, but this is an industry practice, basically. So you have your customer at the bottom end, which is one and done. So they buy just because they got a good discount from somewhere. So this is one and done, right? They never return. They bought only once. So I got a discount from Marriott. I went there once. Just because I got a free something, I utilized it, right? And I've never gone to Marriott again. So that's a one and done kind of a thing. Win back, there are lower value customers who haven't made a purchase in a long time, right? They used to buy, but then they don't buy it anymore. Never sticky, bought a few times, but never become consistent. So you in your business, you might be seeing a lot of customers who are like that. They're never sticky, right? I mean, they go to competition, they buy something, they try that. So it's like we trying Swiggy, Zomato, we trying Uber, Ola, based on our convenience, right? We are actually, if I look at myself, I'm never sticky with the ride apps, right? I don't stick to just Ola or an Uber, right? I need both. So they would have their own ways of doing it. Good but Gone used to buy consistently and spend well, but have fallen off their order pattern. Now this is where these three segments are where your best customers are lying, and also you could also have some best customers lying here as well. So what we typically do is that when we look at the loyalists, the high value, they buy the most often and spend the most, are your best customer, no doubt about it, right? What are we doing and how do we calculate that? Of course, the industry standard is the recency frequency monetary calculation, RFM. I'm sure that you are aware of it. So with the RFM model, we kind of segment the market based on the recency frequency monetary value, and then we put them into segments. Now, this doesn't mean that somebody who's a one and done cannot be a best customer. He could be a best customer. It simply is lying in a segment like that. So there is a different angle to look at a best customer. Any doubts here? Any questions? So what we have done is we have created a playbook where we talk about, what next. Now, once I tell you that, okay, these are your top 20% of customers, right? These are your top customers. These are actually giving you profits, right? What do you do next? How do you design a program, right, which will give them a differentiated experience? So we call that program as not a loyalty program, rather it should be a royalty program, right? So you give them a red carpet treatment. So if you are, I mean, before this, let me ask you one question here, is that I'm sure that you are a best customer of one of the brands that you keep buying, right? But do you remember any red carpet treatment that you have got in recent times? Anybody who's got any experience like that? Anybody? Yeah?
Kotak Mahindra Bank had a pre customer on the birthday. They sent a nice basket which has few birthday products out there.
And you are their best customer. You know that you are their. Perfect. Any other examples here? Okay. Lovely. So the lack of you having any experience itself talks about, there's so much of scope to do so much. I'm sure that you guys, we all are best customers of some or the other brand. We all agree that we are the best customers, some or the other brand. But the brands are not treating us royally. It's clear. Brands are running because of us, but they don't care about us. I mean, that's the feeling, right? I mean, how do you turn it around? How do you now look at your customers and then say, okay, these are those 20 people. Let's say if you have 100 customers, these are those 20 customers who are actually driving a business. These are the people who are giving you profits. Unse jaake mil rahe ho kya? For example, like Anand said, he went and met those people. I wanted to ask him as to what was the criteria. Was he meeting the best people, best customers, right? It makes a lot of sense. For example, if in my company, I ensure that I meet my best customers. I travel to Delhi, to Bombay, to Bangalore, wherever they are, right? To US, to Dubai. We ensure that we go and meet them, sit with them, understand their problems, right? You don't have to give them something. It's not about gifting something. It's not about sending something and forgetting about it. It's about creating an experience. It's just telling them that they're important to us, right? And that's the differentiated experience, and that's something that we don't need to automate, right? We can also manually do it, because I know that there are not too many top customers. Top customers will be very few. For that, you can take some manual, efforts to do something about it. That's our first playbook, and there are a few ideas. There are a lot of deployed use cases that we have. There's an Excel file that I have. If you guys are interested, I can actually share a lot of them with you. We have a demo outside. If you want to look at how we have done it, we could show that as well. I have very little time left, 3-4 minutes. I'll just finish it off. Make them your heroes. Make them part of your mission. Make them your face. Be loyal to them. So be loyal to them. That's what I'm talking about, the VIP treatment. So you be loyal. The brand should be loyal to the customer. It should not be the other way around, right? The era is gone. Right? There's too much of competition. If your top customers move into your competition, just imagine how much of your business and profits are actually being snatched away from your competition. So you might as well be focused on your best customer rather than being focused on all your customers. Because if you focus on all your customers, your competition will focus on your best customers and take it away. So you better be focused on all your best customers. That's it. That's my one recommendation. Find more like them, like lookalikes. Now your best customer are also your advocates. They are going to get you referrals, right? I mean, the best customers are going to talk good about you. They're going to give you business. They're going to give you profits. They're going to give you recommendations. They're going to give you the best kind of NPS surveys, right? They are not going to bitch about you, right? So these are the customers, you have to embrace. उनको गले लगाना है. Right? Jadoo ki jhappi jo bolte hain, right? That is what you have to give to these customers, right? And not to everybody. And that is very, very clear. That's what I want to evangelize here, is that not every customer is king. I want to stop here a little bit about, if you want to ask about anything about the previous slides that I've shown, you could stop me anytime. How do we do it differently is that it's all data led. How do you find your customers? Let's say you have 1 million customer base, right? I'm sure that जब 100 customer होंगे तो 20 तो आप वैसे ही पता चल जाएगा आपको, right? You don't need a data to tell you that. You already know that, okay? जब आपके पास 1 lakh होंगे तो it will be difficult. But when you have 1 million, it will be extremely impossible for you to understand who your top customers are or best customers are. So it's a purely data led. It's a predictive RFM based segmentation that we do. We get results in 4 weeks. When we say results, we actually tell you that who are your best customers, what is the kind of customer lifetime value that you can actually derive from them, how much of a wallet size is the customer has, and what is the opportunity scope that you have with this customer. That means how much of business can this customer bring to you if you do 1, 2, 3, 4 things with them, right? And that what you do can be a recommendation from our side, but it completely depends on you and your business as to how you could, you want to kind of, convert your business into something which is able to kind of deploy these things at your end. We can give you ready KPI dashboards to track profits. Why profits are important is at the end of the day, the fundamentals of business is on profits, and we can actually show you that why investing in top customers is very, very profitable. Few success metrics. What you should look at from the customer experience point of view, you should look at the average order value, you should look at the active rate, purchase frequency. So active rate is how many of the customers are actually, for example, an active rate would be, if you're a bank, your active rate would be how many of the people whom you have onboarded have actually finished your KYC. So how many people have actually finished your KYC, have completed your KYC? That's your active rate, right? The purchase frequency is how many times in a certain period of time, how much of the, how many times has he bought from you? There's a lot of terms here that you could actually, a lot of KPIs that you can actually track. These are few of the most important that I'm talking about. Now, upward cohort migration is a very, very important, KPI that we track. When I say upward cohort migration, what I'm talking about is that base of the customer. So let's say within that 80% of the customer, there's a 20% of the customer who could be pushed into the top 20% of, right? So that's an upward cohort migration. And that's where, so if I go back here, so these are my cohorts, right? So if I want to push somebody from a one and done to a win back to a never sticky to a good but gone to nurturers and to loyalists. So this is all going upwards as a cohort migration. So how could I do that? And that's that's something that we recommend as a strategy. And that will also be part of a dashboard as to how much you've been able to do. Was it 5%, 7%, 8%, whatever it is, right? So that will also tell you that how good is your CRM programs running for you, so that you are able to kind of push people into your top customer base. This is a case study of Adidas I was talking about. So what we did there is that we've been working with Adidas for past 4 years, and the entire CRM teams is what we work with in the 16 countries that we work. We started with India. Today we deliver to 16 countries for Adidas. And we are there where I would say, the data custodians for Adidas in these countries. And we kind of recommend them as to how they can improve their repeat purchase rate, how they can improve their average order value, how they can improve their overall revenues, the profitability, so on and so forth. And by using the MarTech as a underlying platform with their CRM platform. So this is case study. I can actually share all these things if you're interested. Yeah. Right, e-commerce, yes.
Any data points after that on why it is Guwahati?
I have Satish, who has done this analysis with me. We can actually show whatever data points that we have used as a part of it. You want to answer that?
Primarily, what has happened
tier 2 women purchasing for themselves or for their siblings or for their children to be having very high order values, and they don't have access to retail as much as a metro person has access to retail. So you will find that their average order value, the kind of customers they are, the number of repeat purchases that they make, at a phenomenally high level.
Yeah, but then you have a Puma, you have others. What was the reason it was Adidas?
I didn't get that.
What was the reason that they are buying Adidas and not Puma and all? So,
That was not online.
huh?
It's a Adidas online maximum market share. It's not a competition.
It's not.
So that we will.
The focus was about,
Yeah,
look at your customers first.
Exactly. Yeah. And we wanted to talk about Marks and Spencer, but we have very little time here. We did something similar there as well. Yeah.
You spoke about the loyalty, right? A customer will be considered being loyal, right?
Right.
Now, take for instance that as a brand has sold a product which has a higher shelf life. In that case, how do you define that the customer will be considered as a loyal customer, right? So
I understand. Yeah.
From Maruti, that was my first car. But I bought the second car from Maruti itself after 5 years.
Accessories.
Yeah, I did, right?
Yeah.
Few from them and few from outside.
Right.
But I'm just saying that to be, being considered as a loyal, or do I even qualify being a loyal customer for them in this case?
Correct. So it's a once in a lifetime kind of a products, which is like maybe a house or a car, right? These are places where all these things go little awry here, right? But yeah, I mean, there could be other things that could be calculated in terms of how many times has he come back and referred somebody, right? What is the kind of accessories that he has bought, right? So these are the only things that you could, because he will not buy cars every year or every 6 months, right? So it's very difficult to kind of do something. Yeah, or merchandise. I mean, if you have merchandise, then based on that, So ancillary businesses for an automotive, like a Mercedes has their merchandise, right? So you don't buy a Mercedes every year or every 5 years, but you buy merchandise. I mean, they have goggles, they have pens, they have keys, they have watches, right? There's so many things that you could buy from Mercedes actually, jackets, right? So these are some some of the transactions by which you can actually guess whether this guy is really a loyalist or not. Yeah? Yeah, the extended warranty program, right? Of course, the data points are far fewer than in retail or in banking. I agree that the data points that you will get is far fewer because the design itself of your business is one time big transaction, right? So the design of these businesses are small transactions, but multiple of them, right? So small value, multiple transactions kind of a design.
Servicing rather than selling.
Absolutely, I agree, and also on accessories, right? So, and also on merchandise. If you are a Mercedes fan or a BMW fan, you will eventually buy if I have a Mercedes car, I would want to kind of buy a Mercedes watch and kind of show off, right? Because I cannot show off a Mercedes in a room, right? But I can show off a watch. So if show off is that psychography of that customer, then he would buy merchandises for that, right?
So,
Hi.
just a minute,
Yes.
I work for mainly B2B business, right?
Yes.
And what you told as of now about segmentation service level offering, in a single word, I would say, be competitive for all, compelling for some. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is a one-line summary. What if I want to do it, and accordingly we have to have service level offering. So how we can go extra mile for, let's say, key customer and all those.
Right.
So to get into this, a lot of efforts will go into this to build all those data elements. Putting in the proper format, implementing those. So a lot of investment will go.
Right.
So suppose tomorrow I want to implement it, some of the organization or the new vertical, like say chemical, which are not being into this.
Right.
So how do you calculate return on investment? So what do you get if you are put in efforts, put in implementation and all those entire CX deployment, I would say.
Yeah.
So
it's very simple actually. You look at the data of the last 3 years right? You look at how these customers have grown. For example, let's say you want to invest 10 lakh into these 10 customers. I'm just giving a very theoretical example here. So 10 lakhs for these 10 customers. You just look at how these customers have grown over the years, right? Have they given more than whatever 5x of the business? If they have given more than 5x of the business in the last 3 years, you are sure on the right path in investing into that. You will definitely get a 5x of the ROI.
Did you experience this? This is a
100%. 100%. And not just this, I am going to recommend some books for you here, which you must read. These are 3 books. So this is our mentor, Peter Fader, in the US. He's a professor, and he evangelizes so he has taken a different route altogether. He talks about customer-based valuation, right? So it's like now they are helping the investors to kind of buy a company, invest in a company based on their customer base. Not on the scalability part of it, but rather doing a customer base audit. So these are 3 books that I would recommend you to read. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can write to me here. This is my email ID. You can write to me.
Yeah, just last question.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yes.
So you said that top 20% of the customer who are giving us the largest business, we need to
Yes.
retain them, right? We need
Yes.
to make sure that they are happy with us, right?
Yes.
But the most important part for that is, right, that what I can offer them, right? I should know that what is going on the market, what are my competitor doing,
Yes.
right? Which type of program they are running, loyalty programs and all, right? So what type of data points you give from
From the top
the company's
20%?
competitors, right? That is the similar question what they
No,
have, right?
So
Because that is equally important to retain my customers also, right?
No. I don't think so. Don't go in the competitor's way at all. I mean, you're wasting your time, right? Be obsessed with your customers. Be obsessed with your customers. Understand what is it that, see, they are a best customer. They're going to tell you if they don't like something, right? If you're going to ask them, if you're going to listen to them, if you're going to spend some time with them, right? I would rather go and sit with them and ask them rather than researching on my competition as to what they're doing. No, that's a time waste. That's a time waste. I would rather go to my customer, ask them what is it that I can give you, what you think that a competition is giving you right now, and let me work on that. Let me come back to you. I would rather do that. Rather ask the customer that, are you thinking of moving from me? Is there something that is pulling you? Right? I would want to ask him first rather than do some competition research and then make some hypothesis and then realize that it's of no use actually. The customer is not going to go out. Yeah? Correct. Absolutely. And the data will tell you that actually how many times he's coming in. He's a repeat purchase. I mean, if he's coming, again and again and again and again, you are doing something right with that customer, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be coming again and again and buying things from you. So what more can you serve that customer? That's what you have to think. जो खरीद रहा है वो और खरीदेगा.
Yeah, but being a customer, right? I would like you to suggest me what should I go next, right? And for that, you should know that which type of new products are coming and
Correct.
what are the
So give me an
steps
example.
which
I
you
can
have,
actually,
right?
give me an example and I can tell you that what you could be doing. In your case, you can take an example in that rather than being hypothetical. We can take a case here. If you want to discuss a case, we can discuss a case.
Sure. Yeah, means one of the example is, right, if I have I'm a laptop company, right? Dell or Lenovo, right? So
Right.
now customer is regularly purchasing all the products, headphones and all those things from me, right?
Right.
But now suppose tomorrow Lenovo or HP or Sony comes with a pad, touchable pad or anything, right? Then I should reach out to that customer because he might go for that product. So proactively, if I go, then he may not go ahead and purchase that from other vendors. But if I don't reach out to him with suggestions, right?
Of
then-
course.
yeah.
Of course, yes.
For that, I need to know that
So
what is
that's-
going on in the market, right?
No. So that's exactly why I'm saying that if you reach out to 100% of your customer base, you'll be wasting your time. Rather, focus your marketing efforts, your energy, your customer
Yeah,
experience
that I completely
bandwidth
agree. Yeah,
towards those 20% because those are people who are going to buy something from you again.
correct.
That's the only point that I'm making here, right? So when you go back, reduce your efforts that you're actually making to satisfy or delight a customer who is anyways not going to add to your profitability. And to know that, you need to know who is your best customer and who is not, right? So if somebody says, जैसे किसी ने गाली दिया बोलता मेरे को अभी Wi-Fi चाहिए, right? In that case, right? If it's not your customer, right? Your turnaround time should be very clear to him. अगर आपको free delivery चाहिए, कल चाहिए, तो Amazon क्या बोलता है? Prime membership लो. Does it give it to everybody a free this thing? Does it come? If you're not a Prime member, do you get an Amazon order tomorrow? No. So that's a differentiated experience that Amazon gives. It's very clear. You make a differentiated experience. Make it very clear to people, to your customers. Yes, boss, I will give you this differentiated experience provided you pay for this subscription. That's it. That's how you get the rest of that's how Amazon has been able to get the rest of the base to the top of the base simply because they are actually selling their premium. The Amazon Prime is their premium service. They do nothing. They do nothing for that premium service. They already have the logistics in place. They can deliver it in any ways, but they don't do it for everybody. They do it only for Prime members. They could do it for everybody, but they don't do it. That's a differentiated experience.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I would like to disagree to this.
Please, yeah.
Because if Amazon Prime is committed one day, if
Yes.
they don't deliver, they don't give you a refund. They don't give you extra money.
Understand, there is a difference between giving a service commitment,
Right.
charging for it,
Correct.
and providing service. They are two different
Correct.
stuff.
But it is free.
No, it's not free. You are paying for Amazon Prime, right? You are paying for Amazon
not
Prime,
for all the orders.
and you are getting other benefits of their videos and other stuff which comes to you.
Correct.
And hence, Amazon Prime may not be the correct example to give
No.
for loyalty.
I'll tell you why. It's a perceived differentiated
You will have to hear me
experience.
out on this. You will have to hear me out.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this.
tell him.
Is because that is not a service which is provided. That could be if you are an Amazon Prime customer, they don't give you services, confirmed services on all products.
True.
They only give it to you on specific products.
Agreed.
Then it is not a service.
Agreed.
That's the differentiator they have still not been able to create. Ask for anything. Now there is a differentiator which is brought by BB Now. And that is called the differentiator, is because they say, if I don't deliver to you in 30 minutes, I pay you some money back.
Yeah.
So if you have taken for BB Now, they have given you a service commitment. If you, whatever money you have paid, if they don't deliver in 30 minutes, they give you 5 rupees, 7 rupees, 10 rupees back. Wow. That is really called money to be taken in. Baki, some places I can deliver and some places I can't deliver. He's being selective.
Correct. I agree. But again, if you could create a real service, great. A real differentiated service, great. If you cannot, at least create a perceived differentiated service. Right? At least in the minds of the customer, they are treated differently. Right? If that could be done, I think you can win that game of profits. Thank you so much.